what it says here in the Two Babylons on page 96. It says here, the Christmas tree, now so common among us, was equally common in pagan Rome and pagan Egypt. In Egypt, that tree was the palm tree. In Rome, it was the fir. The palm tree, denoting the pagan Messiah as Baal Tamar, or Baal Tammuz. This would be Baal, and Tammuz was his son. The fir referring to the Baal Berith. So, this here tells us that those pagans used to have Christmas trees. Only it wasn't about Christ, it was about their pagan false god Saturn. And they used to build trees or decorate trees for him. Now, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 10 and ask the question, does the Bible have anything to say about Christmas trees? You know, I know a lot of Christians that they put up Christmas trees every year. And I don't want to preach on this really because I don't want to take away their fun, because it really is fun to sit around and decorate a tree. But does that come from the Bible? Or does that come from paganism? Well, what does the Bible say? Jeremiah chapter 10. I'll begin reading in verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the who? Of the heathen. Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. So here is a custom that the heathen, the pagans, the lost people who worship the Babylonian religion, this is a custom that they keep. Watch this. Verse 3, for the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and gold, they fasten it with the nails and with hammers, that they move it not. Does that sound like a Christmas tree? We drive through town here, and on both sides of the road, there's all these trees that have been cut down, and they're sitting there, and they're selling them. Why are they selling them? They're selling them for Christ Mass, so you can go buy one, and with hammers and nail, fasten it into your house, and then decorate it with gold and silver. Sounds a lot like the custom that people do today of a Christmas tree. And it says here, verse 5, they are as upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born. Must needs be born. They must be carried. What is the story of Christmas? Well, many TV shows tell you, go out and get a Christmas tree. And many people go out in the forest and find it and cut it down, and then they put it on their back, and they carry it to the car, and then take it home, and do this exact custom that the heathen did in the Old Testament. So this is a pagan practice of decorating a Christmas tree, of putting up a Christmas tree. Wow. And look what it says here. It says there, it is a palm tree in verse 5. Well, I just read you, the Christmas tree, now so common among us, was equally common in pagan Rome and pagan Egypt. In Egypt, that tree was a palm tree. So this is an Egyptian custom of celebrating a mystery religion. You say, oh no, Brother Breaker, you just took away my Christmas tree. I'm not taking anything. I just want you to see the truth and then let you decide for yourself. What do you want to do? Do you want to remember Jesus Christ because Jesus is the reason for the season and His birth? Or do you want to allow the Catholics and the pagans to teach us customs of the heathen that we should probably not do because they don't honor Jesus? They honor Baal. They honor the devil. Read you some more here. Talking about this, it says, let me get over here to, among the Sabaeans of Arabia, okay, this is the Muslims, who regarded the moon and not the sun as the visible symbol of the favorite object of their idolatry, the same period was observed as the birth festival. Even the pagan Muslims, well, they weren't Muslims then, they were Arabs before that, they, on the 24th, celebrated a birth of their false god, the moon god. The Saxons, as well known, regarded the sun as a female deity and the moon as a male. It must have been the birth date of the Lord Moon, therefore, and not of the sun, that was celebrated by them on the 25th of December. All the pagans have a history of worshiping this god born of Baal, of Saturn, of the moon god. The moon was Semiramis. And they worshipped on the same date, December 25th. Interesting. It says here, everywhere the sun was the favorite object of worship, as in Babylon itself and everywhere, at this festival he was worshipped not merely as the orb of day, but as God incarnate. It was an essential principle of the Babylonian system that the sun, or Baal, was the one and only God. So Nimrod is called Saturn, but he's also Baal. This is the moon god Semiramis. So this is the sun god. Well, what we do as Christians, we try to Christianize the pagans, don't we? By saying, no, it's not that sun, it's Jesus the Son, and Jesus is God. So let's celebrate the true God that was born. Well, if we're going to celebrate the true God that was born, we'd have to celebrate in September, wouldn't we? Because the false teaching, the false religion, the heathen celebrated in December the birth of their false god. Why would we follow suit? Why would we say, oh, we'll worship the true God, but we'll just take the date the heathen worship their false god? It's all messed up, isn't it? It's just so weird. It says here, when therefore Tammuz was worshipped as God incarnate, that implied also that he was incarnate of the sun. It was no mere astronomic festival then that the pagans celebrated the winter solstice. The festival at Rome was called the Feast of Saturn. The feast, as regulated by Caligula, lasted 5 days, whose reigns were given to drunkenness, revelry, slaves had, and it goes on and tells about, it was the festival of Bacchus, where they had evil things going on there, orgies and other stuff. But then it says here, they would feast. Now watch this. The wassailing bowl of Christmas had its precise counterpart in the drunken festival of Babylon. Wassailing. Look up wassailing sometimes. You know, when you're celebrating Christmas, oftentimes people sing a song, "Let us go wassailing," or Old King Wenzel and how he went a wassailing. Wassailing was a pagan, decadent festival, and yet we try to apply it to today. Well, now let's look at this. We looked at the Christmas tree. What about the Yule? I forgot to write tree up here. What about the Yule log? You know, when Christmas comes around, even Christians say, hey, do you have the Yuletime spirit? And they don't even know what they're talking about. What is a Yule? Well, let me read that to you. A Yule, I should be on the other page. I'm ahead of myself. Page 97. What is a Yule? Let me go back to page 93. In Egypt, the son of Isis, the Egyptian title for the Queen of Heaven, was born at this very time, about the time of the winter solstice, December 25th. The very name by which Christmas is popularly known among ourselves, Yule Day, provides at once its pagan and Babylonian origin. Yule is the Chaldean name for an infant or a little child. Well, you say, well, that's what we celebrate, Jesus Christ, as a little child. No. The pagans celebrated Tammuz as the child they worshipped. And so the word Yule is a direct reference to the false god, not to our true God, Jesus Christ. So as Christians, we shouldn't call it Yule. Now let's look at something else here. It says, if the mother was a tree, okay, it's talking about the worship of Semiramis, the son must have been recognized as the man, the branch, and its entirety accounts for the putting of the Yule log into the fire on Christmas Eve and the appearance of the Christmas tree the next morning. So Yule is a pagan word for a child, and Yule is a log, but when you burn the Yule log, you're partaking in the mystery Babylon religion of the father dying and then the son coming back to life. So the log burns as a type of the dad who died, Nimrod, and the tree comes back to life as an evergreen as a type of Tammuz. Interesting. More and more and more, I don't have time to read all this. Here they show a tree cut down, and then there's the stump. And who's around the stump of the tree? Who's around the Yule log? The serpent, which is a type of Satan. Therefore, the 25th of December, the day that was observed at Rome as the day when the victorious God reappeared on earth, was held at the Natalis Invicta Solis, the birthday of the unconquered sun. Now, the Yule log is the dead stock of Nimrod, defied as the sun god, but cut down by his enemies. The Christmas tree is Nimrod redivivus, the slain god come to life again, and he come to life again under the name of Tammuz, his son. In the light reflected by the above statement on customs, before I read that, let me go ahead and ask you another question. This is another one. Okay, so we see the Yule, it's a Yule log, and that Yule log represents Nimrod, not Jesus Christ. Another thing we see in Christmas is mistletoe. What does mistletoe have to do with Christmas? Is it from the Bible? In the light reflected by the above statement on customs that still linger among us, the origin of which has been lost in the midst of hoar antiquity, let the reader look at the singular practice kept still up in the South on Christmas Eve of kissing under the mistletoe bough. That mistletoe bough, or bough, B-O-U-G-H, in the Druidic superstition was, as we have seen, was derived from Babylon, was a representation of the Messiah, the man, the branch. The mistletoe was regarded as a divine branch. And it says, thus, the mistletoe became the token of divine reconciliation to man, the kiss being the well-known token of pardon and reconciliation. So what you have is you have the true Messiah, Jesus Christ. Wasn't even born in December. And you have a false Messiah, this one here. And so the mistletoe is a representation of the false Messiah. So question, when you celebrate Christmas, and you build a tree, and you have mistletoe, and you have a Yule log, which Christ are you celebrating? It's called Christmas. It's not called Jesus Christmas. So which Christ? There's the Antichrist. That certainly is an Antichrist. So what are you celebrating when you celebrate Christmas? Well, some people, without even knowing it, are celebrating the false